Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to reverse engineer a system for managing your own mind based on the book Mental Mema. The big idea here is that we can stop just living inside our own heads and actually start designing what that inner world looks like. So let's get into it and start taking it apart.
So let me just ask you this straight up. Are you really in control of your own mind? I mean, really? We all like to think we're in the driver's seat, but let's be honest, how often does it feel like we're just along for the ride, getting pulled around by life?
You know what I mean? First, there's all the internal chaos, that mental weight of everything you have to do, the lists that just keep getting longer and longer, making it feel impossible to get a clear thought. And then, of course, there's the external chaos, the constant pings, the dings, the buzzes from our phones and computers, just yanking our focus in a million different directions all at once.
And what happens when you mix all that together? You get this. We end up on autopilot, getting furious in traffic, feeling that spike of anxiety over an email, getting stressed by the news. It all just happens automatically. It's almost like our emotional software is running some default reactive program that we never even chose to install in the first place.
Okay, so how do we even begin to debug a program like that? Well, the Mental Mana system gives us a really powerful new metaphor, a new way to organize our thinking. Instead of seeing your mind as this chaotic storm, it asks you to picture it as a super organized file cabinet. And this is the system's first fundamental idea. It's a real game changer. A mental file isn't you. It's just a piece of data that you've collected. Your strong political opinion? That's a file. A really painful memory? That's also just a file. Just reframing it like that is the very first step toward taking back control. This brings us to the core mental model of the whole thing, thinking of your mind as an operating system. See, if our thoughts are just files, that means we can do more than just read them. We can actually learn to open them, look at them, and then decide, do I want to keep this, update it, or maybe just drag it to the trash? But before we can start managing the files, we have to understand the system's biggest bug. The source calls this a universal glitch that affects almost everyone, and it's the root cause of that reactive state we get stuck in. So, what is Dehatmabudhi? I know, it's a mouthful. The text defines it as the core error, the system's bug. It's a fundamental misidentification. It's that unconscious belief that whispers, I am my thoughts. I am my anxiety. This belief is the actual source code for that autopilot feeling. And get this, according to the source, this isn't some rare bug. It's the default state for a staggering 99% of us. It's like the mental water we're all swimming in without even realizing it's wet. So what are the symptoms of this glitch? They're probably going to sound pretty familiar. It's that feeling of being hijacked by your emotions, right? That constant inner chatter that never seems to shut up. It's when you identify with your stress and anxiety so much that you think that's just who you are. In short, it's living life on autopilot. Okay, so that's the diagnosis. The good news is the source offers a really practical physical tool to start the debugging process. You can think of it like a manual reboot for your entire nervous system. Believe it or not, the problem starts with our breath. Most of us are walking around taking these rapid, shallow breaths, a holdover from our evolutionary past designed for, running from predators. In modern terms, this just keeps our fight or flight response constantly activated, leaving us in a state of low-grade alert all day long. The practical application here is to take your breathing off of autopilot. This specific cycle actually forces a physiological change. By deliberately slowing your breath way down and holding it, you activate your rest and digest system. This physically interrupts the anxiety loop, creating just enough space for you to choose how you want to respond. Now, once you've created that mental space with your breath, we can move on to managing the mental files directly. This next technique is for dealing with those intrusive, negative, or just plain unhelpful thoughts. This is the core mental technique, a simple but really profound act of disidentification. When a wave of anger comes up, instead of grabbing it and thinking, I am angry, you observe it as a passing thing, and you just affirm to yourself, this is not me. Let's break down the two ways this can go. On the left, you've got the automatic reaction. You fuse with the thought. You become the anger. And all that does is strengthen that mental file, making it more powerful. But on the right, you have the mental method. You observe it. You see the thought as something separate, which weakens the file's hold over you. You literally stop feeding it with your identity. When you put these tools together,
The physical reboot through your breath and the mental disidentification, it leads to the ultimate strategic insight of this whole system.
That endless stream of worries, judgments, and commentary that runs through your head all day, it's not the essence of who you are. It's just the software you happen to be running at this moment.
And this leads to the final insight. You are the consciousness that's observing the software. And because you can observe it, you can change it. You can choose which programs to run, which files to delete, and you can even write entirely new code for yourself. This leaves us with a really powerful question. If you stop being a passive user and you step into the role of the programmer, what would you choose to create? What would your ideal mental operating system actually do?